this comes down to how-to. And their thinking is, in a nonviolent way, which is Martin Luther King and Gandhi and the Lord himself, is to demonstrate, have to do things to bring attention to where the church and other people are not providing the specifics of how to get it done. Now, you say that, I don't know about the word free enterprise. I don't know of any enterprise that's free. It's become a euphemism for capitalism. In fact, I'd love to take a class of yours with the title, Capitalism and Christianity. Can they coexist? Would be an excellent topic. Capitalism in itself is amoral. And the church and the others that have to go through in this Catholic and social theory, I'm getting off here because I really want to ask you a question. I would like you to give me one good example, because you made an excellent presentation of what we should be doing, and you said we've got to take the middle road because there are a lot of good. But the good that we're coming out of it, really, with the Walmarts, and again, your Ford Escort example, the reason we have the low prices and that we can live in this country at declining wages but still the ability to buy is because we're exploiting the very poor people. So where is globalization at this point doing good in the sense of raising our standard of living and the standard of living throughout the world?
I regret using the word knee-jerk, so I take it back. And I, too, am very sympathetic to, it's really a coalition. You shouldn't just say that they're anti-globalizers. There are coalitions of people. Some of them are brought in by environmental reasons and just a number of concerns about production. Well, I too would like to endeavor a course. I teach a course called Ethics, Economics, and Liberation, in which I do some of the things that I suspect you're interested in doing. And someday I hope to write a book on this. So, give me a sabbatical and I'll write that book. I'm usually on the side if there's a late night bull session in the Jesuit community. I'm usually the one that's, I don't use the word attacking, but asking hard questions about the morality of capitalism. Capitalism, admittedly, is built on greed. I mean, the reason people invest money and even go to work in the morning is they want to get something. Up to a certain point, that's reasonable. We all need a certain amount of goods to survive. One of the real constants of Catholic social teaching is this phrase, you find it in most of the popes since Leo XIII, the universal destination of material goods. Complex phrase, it simply means we've got to share the world. God gave us the goods in common. Capitalism is an awfully good way of getting some people most of the goods. It tends to concentrate power and wealth. However, I wouldn't be quite so quick to dismiss it, because capitalism is a way, the economy of free markets, is a way of giving people incentive to use those goods to create more jobs. So for every Bill Gates, what does he have, $90 billion? Is that what Bill Gates has? What's another $1 billion now? He only wear one suit at a time, you can argue that any given entrepreneur uses his or her wealth to create jobs that help other people. So you or I probably don't have enough capital to start a factory, I know I don't. But the fact that there are people who have these going concerns allows people like you and me to plug into the productive economy. It's, Bill Gates is still going to make his money, but it also does open up possibilities for other people to have opportunities. That's a roundabout answer. All capitalism's goods are roundabout. I certainly agree. And efficiency is an important thing. I mentioned the phrase comparative advantage. It is good for countries to specialize in what they produce best. It would be silly for Massachusetts to spend all of its energy, or Canada's a better example, Canada spending all of its energies trying to grow oranges. If we just get the right seeds, we can grow oranges. Why not just import them from Honduras, where they grow almost wild? And Canada, why don't you focus on what you're good at, whether that's timber or electronics or something? So there are benefits to trade. They can be mutual benefits if we had a trade system that works. So, long answer to your question, although I share probably 90% of your insights. Thank you for a very intelligent question. Yes?
Tom, in your race to the bottom, you were in my class yesterday, so I heard it over there. And I had the thought then, and it came back again to me today,
Pacific Rim.
Yes, and certainly if you look at the Korea of 1980 and the Korea of 2005, they are very, very different. And it has not been, for them, a race to the bottom, but because of the economic aspects of globalization, it has helped raise the standard of living in that country. Less successfully, I would say, in the Philippines for a variety of reasons. But even there, some of the clouds on our horizon might be the silver linings in theirs. For example, outsourcing. Yes, jobs are lost here, but interestingly enough, the phenomenon of outsourcing, when you can call up for computer tech support and get someone in Bangalore, you also get people in Manila. That's another big bang for the sort of service industry, and that does help maintain a greater social stability in those countries where, you know, a big problem facing the Philippines is the vast numbers of people who are overseas foreign workers and all the pressures that creates. And so in the bigger picture, how do you factor into, you know, maybe the evaluation of the equation, the pluses or the plus sides to race to the bottom and things like that?
Yeah, Korea is a great example. I wish I knew more about it. I teach a lot of Korean students. In my first year of teaching at Weston School of Theology, where I teach, a Korean student was in my office explaining to me, he broke down in tears, how that 1997 crisis, the East Asian financial crisis, affected his family, loss of job, etc. Up till that point, certainly from 1980 you mentioned, probably somewhere around that time, Korea was on what we call a takeoff. It had accumulated enough capital to be producing the things that really were desired internationally. I think the key to taking advantage of globalization, but you know, half the countries take good advantage and half of them are unable to. What makes the difference? Well, if I had the answer to that, I would be as well published as William Grider or Thomas Friedman, and I'd be selling millions of copies instead of hundreds of my books. But I think we can summarize it a little bit. Some countries are poised to take advantage of globalization because they have ready access to the means of communication and transportation. Jeffrey Sachs, a famous, he used to be at Harvard, now he's at Columbia, developmental economist. Jeffrey Sachs says that if you want to take advantage of globalization, be near the coast. Landlocked African nations like Botswana, Burkina Faso, these are the countries that have suffered because they have no natural outlets to sell their goods, primary goods usually, whether those are ores, metal ores, or products of soil, etc. So that's one thing. There are a number of other factors. I know the Korean people are extremely dedicated to education. You do need a core group of people in your country of highly educated status to take advantage of this now high-tech world. So again, I wish I had a whole longer list, but at least those two things. Geography, human capital, that's what education is usually called in development literature. And you know, there are two views of development, a little bit that I know about economic development theory. Some people, development is like a ladder, right? You start at the bottom and you hope that you can climb to the top. Some theorists say that anybody can start at the bottom and climb to the top. All you have to do as a nation is to apply yourself. Get your people extremely good education. The Japanese go to school like 300 days a year or something. They put us to shame. Their kids all outscore us in math score. I know it's true. That's the kind of thing that